Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We are here with this special guest panel. And boy, is this something that we've never seen before, but it will be a very special one. I'd like by, first of all, introducing our panel. Of course, first and foremost, in our center position, the chairman, the founder of Skill Challenge Entertainment Enterprises, and the vision that this man has for boxing, not just in Saudi Arabia, not just in the Middle East, but his vision for boxing around the world is unprecedented. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to welcome His Highness Prince Khalid bin Abdulaziz Al Saud. Seated next to him is a man that really needs no introduction. He is the baddest man on the planet, even though today he might say he's not, but he is the baddest man on the planet, a living legend and boxing icon in his own right. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcoming the one and only Mike Tyson. I have the honor of sitting next to one of our current champions, undisputed lightweight champion of the world, undefeated, 29 wins against 0 losses. What he's done by going to the champion's backyard not once, but twice, taking the title and then defending the title against him is, again, unprecedented. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome Devin the Dream Haney. And finally, I think he has a Saudi Arabian passport now because he dresses like one of the locals. World title contender, our event promoter, one of the biggest personalities in boxing. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only SHEIKH DERECK CHISORA. I told you that color would look good on you.
Thank you.
Let me begin by Prince Khalid, if you don't mind. You and I have had numerous conversations. I have the absolute honor of being the head of boxing for Skill Challenge Entertainment. And I jumped into this without any reservation when we had one conversation, your vision. And that vision was one that I had never heard before. I'm not going to steal the thunder and explain that vision. I will humbly ask you to address all of our dignitaries, all of our guests, and the world with the vision of Skill Challenge Entertainment Enterprises.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, let me tell you what's Skill Challenge. Skill Challenge is a product of Vision 2030. It's a product of Vision 2030. So our vision comes from a bigger vision, the leading visionary. That's genius. Prince Mohammed bin Salman, the Prime Minister. So, Skill Challenge now is trying to branch, trying to be bigger. And one of the things that we're trying to do is branch it with a promotion and a management company. So I'm here to announce that we're making Skill Challenge Promotion, SCP, and our first signing is Mr. Ziad Al-Mayouf.
MashaAllah.
I really don't know what to say. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Ziad. The first signee of Skill Challenge Promotions, which has officially launched. Prince Khalid, you did in 2019, you did Clash of the Dunes. In 2022, you did Rage on the Red Sea. Today, this weekend, inshallah, we're doing The Truth at Diriyah. This vision, coupled with the vision of 2030 from Prince Mohammed, how is this different than the landscape of traditional boxing?
First of all, I didn't do it alone. First of all, to me, I will say the truth. It's Prince Abdulaziz bin Turki Al Faisal. He's the one that began all that. I'll tell you a story about how we did it, how we began. I came to Prince Abdulaziz with grassroots studies to do the grassroots in Saudi Arabia for boxing. He looked at me, he said, leave this alone and just bring me the biggest fights. So that's how it began. So what's going to happen with Skill Challenge? We're still starting. That's the beginning. And to me, everybody mentions Vegas, New York, or London for the big fights. Now Saudi Arabia is on top of them and will stay on top of them. And now Saudi Arabia will be the base and the hub of the biggest boxing fights in the world.
Prince Khalid, you have a wonderful relationship with most, if not every single promoter, managers, and many of the fighters. You see a lot of your friends and fighters in the crowd today. How do you think that the progression of you working with every network, every promoter, every manager, will change how boxing, the business of boxing, is done?
Our aim is not to be like the boxing world now. Every promoter doesn't like the other promoter or doesn't work with the other promoter. Skill Challenge will be working with everybody, bringing the big fights, working with every network. And what's our aim? It's to do the fights, our aim is for the fighters and for the fans to have the biggest fights. Because now it isn't happening, and that's the problem with boxing.
Fights do take a long time. You see some of the best fights in the world, they take years and years and years to evolve, exactly as you had said. Yeah. So your vision is to work with everybody, without any reservation, to put on the best fighters for the fans to see.
Yeah, that's our aim and our vision, to go through that. But the thing is now, I'm sorry for that. I'm honored to sit beside the biggest legend in boxing, Mr. Mike Tyson.
Thank you, brother.
You're an icon. You are a hero to me. I remember staying till 4 in the morning. I think half of the people here stayed 4 in the morning in this country just to watch you fight. And I can't say how big it is for you to come here. And thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And I will thank my friend, Sheikh DERECK CHISORA.
Sheikh.
Sheikh DERECK for coming here. He's a great man.
Thank you.
He's a great fighter. He has the heart of a warrior. Never saw a guy fight with his heart in my life like DERECK CHISORA. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, sir.
I want a Sheikh outfit.
I want to thank David, the champ, for being here, because I want people to know that this guy went to his nemesis, to his country, 2 times, and fought for the championship, and he did it. It's to meet you here. It's once in a lifetime. Thank you for being here.
Sir, thank you.
And we hope we have you here fighting, not being here.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
And that is the vision of Skill Challenge Promotions moving forward. The biggest fights, the best fights, all networks, all promoters, all fighters, to deliver the fights that the fans want to see and deserve for the sport of boxing. Let me turn it over to you, Mike.
Yes, I'm here.
What are your thoughts during your time? Of course, there was the promotion, there's the business of boxing. We've talked about it for several years.
Yes.
How does this, the vision of Prince Khalid, change the landscape of boxing?
Well, it changes in one fundamental perspective, that in boxing, all of the money, if everything's not on the table in boxing, there's always something underneath the table. The whole thing is not on the table, and that's where boxing has this first fundamental problem, not telling the truth. Being promoters and managers, they all work together, believe it or not. Even though they're nemesis, they still work together.
Is that possible, Mike? Is it possible for promoters to be able to work together?
Hey, listen, it has nothing to do with being a moral person. If you have a good moral compass, anybody can work together. It's just that they're not going into this negotiation with good intentions. For the
Devin?
fighter, at least.
Sure. Devin, this is your first time in Saudi Arabia. Welcome to the country. Welcome to the kingdom.
Thank you for having me.
Prince Khalid, by the way, when our list of guests came up, he said, I would love to have Devin here. He thinks the world of you going into hostile territory, going to Australia to fight for the title, and then not only did you fight for the title, you went back and defended it in his country. Your father led your career, and he's done a wonderful job leading the career. And he's stayed away kind of from certain obstacles, aligned with certain promoters. Even in terms of trainers, you've had your share of trainers along your career. So you're really kind of out there working with everybody. Is that almost aligned with the vision of Prince Khalid of making sure that you leave your options open and working with everybody?
Yes, the sport of boxing it will be much bigger and much better if all the promoters and everybody work together to make the biggest fights happen. And that's what Prince Khalid is doing. And I think it's going to push boxing much further, and the best fights are going to happen.
What's next for Devin Haney?
Yeah, what's next is Vasyl Lomachenko on May 20th, and inshallah, we can do it here in Saudi Arabia.
Derek, I'll turn it over to you. You are one of the most outspoken personalities in the sport. You have been around Prince Khalid for quite a while, probably longer than most fighters have been around, and you've seen his vision. He's talked to you about the vision. And in your own right, currently, you are the example of this vision of not signing exclusively to any promoter and working with several of them. What are your thoughts on Prince Khalid's vision and Skill Challenge Promotions moving forward in this vision?
Sorry, 1 second. It's a great vision. One thing I always understand in boxing, you get a phone call, it goes, oh, you're fighting on this day, and we're going to pay this much money, and you're trying to get more money, they don't give you more money. But what Prince Khalid is coming with, saying, listen, come fight here, this is what's in the pot, and this is your money in the next couple of days. And that's great. Promoters, other promoters, they take off the table. I remember having a fight, massive fight. By the time I got my money, I ended up walking away with almost like £30,000, from 300,000. So, what Prince Khalid is saying, it's amazing. And I'm all for that, to be honest with you. If you want to get paid, come see the boss.
Mike?
That's a stereotype. I think we're better in business than anybody else.
No, 100%. I've seen it through AJ Usyk, and I'm happy to be part of this venture, to be honest with you.
Mike, I'll ask you a question that I think most people know the answer to, but I'd like to hear you elaborate more on it. Does the business of boxing prevent the best fights from happening?
Absolutely. First of all, before you even get the best fight, the fighter should be the first person to get his check and write check. Somebody shouldn't get that check before him and then say, hey, you get this. That should never happen. That's happening now in boxing. Why should somebody I used to understand, even when I was like, why should they have your check and pay you when you gave him the job of being your promoter? You should pay him. You should have his money paying him because he works for you. Everybody works for the fighter. Everybody thinks the fighter works for them. The fighter's the boss.
And skill challenge promotion will be for the fighter and for the fans to give them the biggest fight. That will be our motto. That will be our thing. That's the problem with the fights right now. You stay for 5-6 years to have one big fight. And the problem, to me, what I saw in our business is not just calling the fighter and let's fight. We have promoters, we have networks, we have things to do. And it's so hard that fans get bored, fans get worried. And what's good with doing the fights for the fans is now fans is going to the UFC, going to other combat sports, boxing fans. And for me, my vision is to bring back fans to boxing and be bigger and better.
Yes.
And that will change the landscape of how boxing is done. What a vision, of course, aligned with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's vision of 2030. I'll wrap it up, Prince Khalid, if you don't mind asking you this question. You said that the fights would be based out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. This will become the new focal point of boxing. Will Skill Challenge Promotions only promote fights exclusively in the kingdom?
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia will be the main attraction to me, to Skill Challenge, because with the guidance of the MOS, the Ministry of Sports, that's what made this. The Ministry of Sports made the Skill Challenge. So we'll try to make the biggest, best fights in Saudi Arabia, but we'll work outside Saudi Arabia. And now we have like some signings with other countries around us, but still Saudi Arabia will be the base of the biggest fights.
So
I will give Saudi Arabia the Champions League and all other countries the Euro League. So that's how it's goes.
So you heard it here, Skill Challenge Promotions based out of and having all of the main fights in the kingdom, but it will be a global movement, a global promotion based out of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Outstanding. We have a special presentation, and this was something new that I had found out about recently. We have, of course, the president of the World Boxing Council, Mr. Mauricio Suleiman, is here with us today. Of course, he's
Mauricio!
The WBC has always taken on extra initiatives, new initiatives to always do things outside of the regular landscape of boxing. They have teamed up with a company called Opus. Now, I had never heard of Opus before, but the more I started learning about this, the more amazing it was. I know that Carl's going to get upset at me, but it's a book. It's the world's largest book, and it's not just the world's largest book. This is a handmade book. It is the largest publication of the best 100 fights in the history of boxing. These fights have been chosen by over 60 world champions. The panel to introduce these fights and to actually classify these fights, categorize them, was chosen by world champions. One of the most amazing things about this book, 75% of the pictures in this book have never been seen before. These are world championship fights from the 100 best fights in history, and 75% of these pictures have never been seen by the public. Furthermore, I said there's only 100 of these made. Version number 001 is now here in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and it will begin its world tour throughout the year. It will end in Mexico City, where after it's toured around the whole world, it will be auctioned off. It'll be auctioned off, and 100% of the proceeds will go to children's charities. I'm very happy to announce that Skill Challenge Promotions has chosen a Saudi Arabian-based foundation, Al Bayda Foundation, who will receive a portion of these proceeds as well. And this book now, version 001, which has been signed by all of the champions, I'd like to welcome on, before I actually make the announcement, the head of the WBC, the president, Mr. Mauricio Suleiman, as well as the CEO of Opus, Mr. Carl Fowler. The WBC and Opus are requesting the honor of Prince Khalid bin Abdul Aziz to not only sign the book, but have the only signature on the actual plate of the WBC emblem before it begins its tour around the world. Your Highness. There it is. the WBC Opus Book of Champions, now exclusively signed by His Highness Prince Khalid bin Abdulaziz, joined by his son, Bandar. You should see this kid box. He beat up Tommy Fury the other day. The book will begin its global tour immediately. Version number 001 is here in the kingdom, and this is where it will begin, and it'll be passed around the world. I would also like to say that Mr. Carl Fowler is donating one of the books to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia to have here for a keepsake. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes this panel, and next, the panel that we've been waiting for, the main event, Sunday, February 26th, in Diriyah. The talk is over. It's time for the truth. The truth.